Welcome to JFix, and in this video we're going to be looking at this ICY clone and docking station that I need for a few jobs. So just before we get into this, in the last video we looked at a microscope and I said I'd give that away. I've chosen Smboltech, who's another YouTube channel. I've given that microscope to him because he's just getting into SMDs, so it would be useful for him to have a comparison with his current microscopes. So yeah, I'll link his channel, really good channel. Check that out. But that being said, let's have a look at this docking station, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use it for. So here is the docking station made by ICY, and it's a clone and a docking station. So it will allow me to dock various different types of hard drive and connect to the computer, read the data off these drives, and then back them up or copy out files to it. And it will also support an offline mode, so I can copy directly from device to device. So going to be a really useful bit of kit. So here is the ICY device, and if we look at the I/O on the back, we've got a power input here. Because it's a German made product, it doesn't have the UK plug, so I might have to sort out a different 12 volt power adapter, 3 amp one, or maybe get a adapter to connect this to a UK plug if I don't have that. But yeah, you've got your DC input here, power on off switch, and a type C for your data transfer to the PC, and you've got this toggle switch here. So this is for offline mode, so you can change what you're copying from. So the reason I was looking for one of these is because I've got this NVMe here, which has got some data that I want to recover off it. Initially I was just looking for a NVMe enclosure that can connect to the computer with a USB, but after shopping around I found this. Now some of these kind of devices go for crazy money, but for the features that this has, I think it's really good value. So with an NVMe, you can put it into this slot here or this slot on here, and you can adjust the pegs depending on what size drive it is. Like for example, this is a smaller NVMe, and I've got the peg in here, so I can connect it, and then it will sit in there with the peg. Big advantage with this one is that it does support SATA devices as well. So this one, you can see it's got the different key arrangement, and this is a SATA. So having the ability to do both of them, SATA and NVMe on the one device, is fantastic. But you've also got the ability to connect a 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch. So I've got the smaller 2.5 inch solid state drive in here, and you can just connect it into here as well. And yeah, so I've got the ability to read from anything. I can read from a 2.5 inch like this, a 3.5 inch, NVMe, different key, doesn't matter whether it's a SATA as well. I've got the ability to connect anything to my computer really with this, so that's fantastic. Now the other feature that it obviously includes is the offline mode as well. So you can put a device either in here or here and clone it over to an NVMe. And again, going back to this, you can change this toggle switch here. So if it's a SATA device, you set it to there, and if it's an NVMe, so I can have an NVMe in here, copy it to another NVMe, or a SATA in any of those two arrangements and copy it over to an NVMe in there, and it'll do it in offline mode. So I can press the clone button and it will just show you with a percentage indicator, and you've got a source and target indicator light as well. So we will try that out as well. These two drives I've got here, we'll try connect up SATA, make sure we can read it on the computer and the NVMe. I'll format these drives and let's see if we can clone information across these two. I'm all set up ready to test it now. So I've got a little adapter on here just so I can plug this into a UK plug, temporary. And in this I've currently got the SATA drive in this side and the NVMe drive in this side, and I've hooked up the USB-C cable to the computer. So I'm going to press the power button on the back, and the device is powered on. So I'm interested to see if it can read both of these devices. I've got activity on both of those. So let's see on the computer now if it's reading both of these discs. Now, both of these actually came from a Steam Deck. So they've got various different partitions on there that was required for the Steam OS, but I've upgraded to a larger version of this in my Steam Deck. So I want to just try and remove any of the partitions and formatting that's currently on there. And yeah, see if we can just put a basic NTFS partition on both of these. Let's go over to the computer now and have a look at the software. Right, over to the desktop now, and I've got it plugged in. And if I open this PC, we can see I've got my main local disk here, the C drive, and my Google Drive, so just ignore those two. And I have got various different EFI drives on here, a D, E, F and a H. So it is detecting it. I've not installed any drivers for this. This is just working straight out of the box after connecting it. So to help manage these partitions and check the disk, I've downloaded a few utilities. So I've got Crystal Disk Info. Let's launch that. And here we go on Crystal Disk Info. I've got my main drive on my computer, which is just a 1 terabyte drive, which is a NVMe. It's quite a new computer, so I can see I've only got 36 power on this. Mostly I leave the computer on all the time, so that's fine. And I've got 2 additional drives, so it is detecting both of them. So let's go into the first one, and that one's is saying it's a 256 gig, and we've got this one, which is the 61. So okay, this one's going to be the one on the right hand side, the NVMe, which was the 256 gig, and it's saying 84% good, power on counts is reading from there. And the other drive, which was the SATA drive, the E2 M2 64 gig, this doesn't seem to be able to read from here. I don't know if the management chip on the device itself doesn't give this type of information, but it is detecting it fine. It says 100% health, but I guess it just has to estimate that because it can't read data from the drive. So yeah, let me also have a look at the partition assistant that I've downloaded. Okay, so on the IOMI partition assistant, we can see my main disk for my computer, disk 0. And if we go down, you can see the main partition here as well, the system. And here are our 2 disks, disk 1, which is the 256, and then this is the 64 gig one on disk 2. And looking at this, we've got lots of different partitions on here. These were all created by the Steam OS as it formatted a disk. So let's see if we can go ahead and remove it using this tool. So if I right click on disk 1, it's got an option to delete all partitions in one go. So we can delete all partitions and wipe all the data as well, which I'm not interested to keep that anymore. So let's see if we can do that. Okay, fill all sectors with 0. So let's try that. And it looks like it doesn't do it instantly. You have to start it once you've done it. So let's see if we can create a new partition in there, NTFS partition, and we'll use the maximum amount of available space. So press OK on there, and let's do the same for this one. Let's delete all partitions and wipe all the data, and then we've got just unallocated space. Let's create a partition, maximum space, OK. So yeah, that all looks perfect now. We've just got a single NTFS partition on both of those disks. Now let's see if we can apply the changes, see if that works. approximately 2 hours 48 minutes. Yes, I want to proceed. And it's doing its thing. So yeah, I'm going to leave this running and I'll come back to you when this is finished and then we'll check that's successful. Just to show you on here, while it is performing those operations, the target light is flashing for this one, so it must be doing this one currently. And simultaneously that one is flashing as well, but it looks like it's doing the NVMe drive first. Okay, so we are now completed. It actually didn't take long at all, and we have 2 discs showing still with just the single volume on each one, although the SATA one does have the reserved partition as well, but we've got 2 GPT and TFS partitions on there, so that looks like it's successful. If I exit out of the IOMI partition assistant, let's have a look now at the computer. We can see I've got 2 volumes here. So this is the bigger NVMe and this is the SATA drive. This is both detected fine. So what I'll try and do is copy a file to the SATA one. So let's just put a copy of my logo in there. And now I'm going to go offline mode and try and see if I can clone the drive over and see if it will transfer this file. So because my device in there at the moment is at SATA, I'm going to move this switch over to SATA to NVMe. And now let's press clone and see what it does. Actually, I'll disconnect it from the computer when I do this, just so it doesn't cause any issues. Okay, so I'm disconnected from the computer. I'm going to press the clone. Let's hold it down. There we go, so you have to hold it. So I can see the process has started now and it's flashing on 25%, and I guess it will progress as it's completed. Even though it's just one file on there, it's not just doing a file transfer, it's completely cloning disk to disk. So I know it's only a tiny file, but I'm expecting that this will take quite a long time because it's doing a full clone. But it's quite interesting to see that you've got the drives don't have to be matched in size. It looks like it's still doing it, even though this is only the 64 gig and this is the 256. So this is great if you don't want to lose your data, but you want to upgrade the size of your hard drive. You can put your old one in there and get it transferred over to a bigger device. So let's wait until this gets to 50% and make sure this is progressing well. But we've got activity on both of them and it looks like it's working away. Oh, I've just seen it change. So 25% has gone solid and now it's starting on the 50%. So that didn't take too long at all. I'll wait till it gets to 100%. Also figured out, just while it's doing that, these 2 holes here are just little docking holes that you can put your spare pegs in there if you're not using them. Also, just to note, when I pressed the button first time it didn't work. I held it down for 5 seconds and it just stayed on there. What you have to do is hold it down for 5 seconds and then press it a single time on here to start the transfer. So it is shown in the manual, but that wouldn't be obvious if you didn't have this manual. So yeah, you hold it down to start your clone for 5 seconds and then just press it once to confirm it, then it will start. Oh, while it's doing that, it's just gone to 50%. So I think I'm going to walk away now and have a drink, then come back to it. Should be completed soon. Okay, so I've just come back to it and we're at 100%. Everything looks like it's completed. So let's connect it back to the computer again, see if that file is transferred. Okay, so back on the computer now, and if I open up my PC, I can only see a single volume, the 64 gig. So I assume that was the just the SATA that it's reading. But looking over at the disk management here, I can see what it's actually done is the new volume, the E drive, is the 64 gig partition that's been cloned from disk 2, and it's the other space is unallocated. So it's literally copied this entire partition here and created a new partition with the same and left the other space unallocated on there. So that's good. This one is offline and it can't be detected at the moment because it says there's a signature collision with the other disk. So I'm guessing it's because both of those disks are identical. It's temporarily disabled, this one. But now this is here. If we go into this volume, we can see that data has been copied over, and I've got my logo file there that I copied. So it was successfully, it's transferred data over to this new partition here on the other disk. So now it has created that. Obviously we've got this unallocated space. So to finalize this, what I will do is just go back into my partition assistant. And now in partition assistant, let's see if we can merge this partition to create the full space. So if we right click on this current partition on here, which matched the size of the SATA device we closed, if I click resize partition, and hopefully we can include all of that unallocated space. And hopefully it will protect the data as well that was on there. So there's an enhanced data protection mode. We won't need to do that. Let's just do a basic one and apply. And proceed. Yes. Okay, that's doing its thing. So hopefully data will still be intact and the partition will be the entire size of the new disk. Okay, so we have completed now allocating that unused space. So we've got the full volume here of the 264 gig NVMe. And if I go into there, the data is intact. Now, ICY partition assistant wasn't able to do this for some reason. It failed. So I also downloaded this Disk Genius software, which is also free, and this one indeed was able to resize it by right clicking on the partition and just resizing the partition and then dragging it over here and starting. So yeah, that's not to do with the ICY box but the software. So just bear that in mind, that you might need to use various different types of partition software. Okay, let's go and have a final look at the device and close out this video. So yeah, to wrap up this video, I'm really impressed with this ICY box. It's done everything I wanted to be able to do. It can read from all the various drives on the computer. It was able to successfully clone over this, even though the sizes don't match. It was able to copy the partition on here over to this one. But you will need some software on the computer after it's finished cloning just to reallocate that unused space. And say the Disk Genius software worked for me, but if you've got any other recommendations of other software, especially if it's free, not having to be paid software, then yeah, drop that in the comment below. But yeah, I think I'll wrap up this video now, and if you find this useful, yeah, or if you've got any questions, just drop it down in the comment and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks all.